at some point, you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to episode 94 of the Married into Crazy podcast. I'm Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And we want to welcome each and every one of you back to the podcast. You're back.
Okay, you're goofy.
No,
okay, before you get started,
yes, ma'am.
I want to say I was remiss last week and not wishing the fathers a happy Father's Day moving forward. Yesterday was Father's Day, so happy belated Father's Day to all our fathers out there who listen to the podcast. Hope you had a very blessed and great, relaxing day. And also, Lovey had a birthday last week. So, happy belated birthday to my lovey.
I appreciate that. I truly take the birthday wish to heart, but I also take the belated Father's Day to heart as well. Because, come on, fellas, if you're out there, come on, band together right now. If I've ever needed you, I need you now. Because what is Father's Day? An afterthought. Mother's Day has so much preparation, all the stores, flowers, and cards, and candy, and blah, 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 blah.
So
but, no.
Okay, go ahead.
But, Father's Day, oh yeah, that day that we got to get out there and barbecue for ourselves, or whatever, more times than not. But I just want to say that, does it shock me that Father's Day was forgotten, or you forgot to say Happy Father's Day? No, it doesn't. Am I the victim right now? I am. I am the victim.
You're trying to be a victim.
Which,
Hard to
do you
be
hear
a
that?
victim.
There's violins. If I knew how to work this thing, I would play violins in the background.
Okay. Anyway, no, we have this conversation every single year that Mother's Day. Lovey is so jealous of Mother's Day. How it's just like this big to do. And we have to make reservations, and we do all these different things. And then comes Father's Day, and
right, exactly. Quiet, crickets. Come Father's Day, there's no brunch. There's no reserving restaurants.
We have to almost drag you guys to go to the brunch in the first place.
If there was a Father's Day brunch, we would go.
Okay. Did you have a Father's Day brunch yesterday? Yes or no?
Yesterday?
Yesterday was Father's Day.
Cause you.
Yes or no?
Cause you
yes
cooked late.
Or yes or no?
Was it an intended brunch?
Did you?
It was supposed to be breakfast.
Did you have food?
So that's what I've been reduced to.
Oh my God!
Did you get to eat?
Lovey is
Did you
so
get to eat yesterday?
Only that, let me
you
say
got
this.
some air, you got some water, and you got to eat. That was a special day that you got to eat, got some air, and got to drink some water.
Can you not do that because you're making me?
True. I'm just saying that.
So
that's what it's been reduced to here. If I get water, air, and food all on the same day, it's a special day. Must be my birthday or Father's Day.
Really? Because you don't get
For
that
Christmas?
on the daily. You don't
Hello,
get that
mistress.
on the daily.
Mistress.
That's right.
On Christmas, may I have another piece of cheese? May I partake of another piece of cheese, please? Yeah, so back up. No, see. Anyway, go on with your story. What else you want to say about...
Nothing now. I take it all back.
No, my Father's Day was amazing. I got to spend some time with my dad. That was really cool. First off, this weekend we had so much fun because our grandkids were here. The girls were visiting, which was really nice to visit with my son for his Father's Day, and then, of course, Papa's Day. And if you got an opportunity to go to Married into Crazy, either on our Instagram or on Facebook, I don't think I put it on Instagram. I put it just on Facebook. So go to our Facebook page, Married into Crazy, and you'll see
you being a drill sergeant.
Me being a drill sergeant with 2 3-year-olds and a 4-year-old. It was the funniest thing in the world.
It was so cute.
It was so much fun. But them kids, that's my life. So it was a lot of fun. But then I got to spend some time with my dad. My dad has this condition with his lungs. And so it was contracted when he was in the Air Force. And it went dormant. it causes some issues where it constricts his ability to get a full expansion, if you will, of his lungs. And so he had trouble breathing. But that happened like when he was in his 20s. And then it just mysteriously went away. He had a good 50 years or so of zero issues whatsoever. Then out of the blue, it came back with a vengeance. And so, unfortunately, my dad's passion is golf. I should say, it's not unfortunately his passion is golf. His passion is golf. Unfortunately, the last almost 2 years, year and a half, almost 2 years, he hasn't been able to play like he used to. It went from walking the course with his buddies to getting in a cart to not really being able to even do the cart piece, because even just going from the cart to teeing off or whatever, playing the ball.
It took a lot out of him.
Took a lot out of him. So my siblings and I came up with this idea that what we should do is get Dad a Wii gaming system. And so just so he could play golf in the comfort of his living room. And so I went over yesterday, we ordered it, it arrived, and I went over yesterday and set it up for him. And he and my stepmom had an amazing time. They were having so much fun, it got so competitive. And the beauty of it is that now he's going to invite his buddies to actually come over to the house and be able to play around. And these are my dad's, his aces. These are the dudes these are like my big unks. And they are...
What's a big unk?
They're going to have a lot of fun. I'm really excited. So it meant a lot to me, to all of us, to be able to go, and do something like this for him and Mom. So that was cool. That was a pleasurable Father's Day. It's one of my favorites.
Not to mention the great food you got to eat.
When I came home?
Before you left, too.
Oh, the brunch, the late breakfast, the food I got to eat with the air and the water.
We had church, so...
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Anyway, no, so it was a great
I'm
weekend.
grateful.
It was. My birthday is always going to hover around Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, I will say this about you, Snooks. You're good about not doing a twofer. So she could have easily, for years, put together my birthday and Father's Day and say, nope, you just get one holiday. But she's been blessed. It has happened a couple of times where they merged. But
you still got an individual gift for your birthday
Amen.
and one for Father's Day.
Amen. I know I married the right one.
Yeah.
And so it's been nice. So anyway, it was very good. So my gift that I received was The Mamba Mentality, which is so funny because it's a book I've always wanted, and even before Kobe passed. But then for her to do this, because we're at this point in our lives where things don't, we're not into stuff for the most part. And so they always ask, oh, what do you want to get? What do you want for Father's Day, for your birthday, for Christmas? There's never anything that I truly ever want. And for her to just out of the blue get something that does mean a lot to me, more so because of the work ethic and the opportunity to learn from one of the masters of life, so to speak, when it comes to getting things done, which is right in line with my personality, which it was a phenomenal gift. And so thank you.
You're welcome. But just one correction. I am into stuff.
Oh.
Just so.
My bad.
Just putting that out there. So, no, it's good.
No, it's fine. So, it's interesting. So I also, this weekend was good. I had a great men's group. I'm not going to really talk about what we talked about, but I did bring up a situation in our relationship, talked about our divorce, or close to getting divorced.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
That was the other wife?
Our divorce proceedings, or we didn't even get to the divorce proceedings. It was when divorce was knocking at our door, and we never quite got there. But it came up in conversation, so to speak, from an illustration standpoint. And one of the guys asked, we did like a little side chat, and he wanted to know, so what exactly was it? Did you just miss all the signs? I mean, how did you not know that? Well, go ahead and tell a story about how.
Well, okay, I don't know what part though. Which part are you referring to?
Oh, like when we're at Morton's.
Okay, so when we went to dinner on our 4th anniversary, we were there, and I was feeling very anxious, basically. And Levy's eating, he's, enjoying the meal, and I just I don't think I started crying. I just was like, I'm not happy, and I want out of this. Basically, I want a divorce.
Did you know going into the dinner that we were going that you were going to ask for a divorce?
No, I would have never done that. I don't know what it was about that particular moment. Maybe because
I wore deodorant, right? That was the day I wore deodorant. So I'm just
okay. But I think maybe I felt like that was almost like our one time that we really sat and it was just you and I. There was no other distractions like the kids or work or no one calling you. There was no whatever we were doing at the time. I don't know if we were doing some were we in Amway at the time?
I don't remember.
I can't remember. Anyway, but I almost feel like, looking back on it, I almost feel like that was like our one time, maybe a few times that we actually just had by ourselves where we could sit and chit chat. We did try to communicate previously. We both missed the mark on those conversations because I say that because I kind of walked away feeling very unsatisfied and like there was no resolution in anything. So I didn't go in it like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go in here and he's gonna be chewing on some steak and I'm gonna tell him I want a divorce. That was not the intention at that time, but it just, for lack of a good reason, it just felt like this is the appropriate time to tell him. In so many ways, it wasn't an appropriate time, but like I said, I felt like at that moment we were like together, face to face, one on one, just the two of us. And I think I was probably so far gone with trying to, okay, so let me explain to you how I feel. Let me tell you about whatever. I just like, okay, look, here's the deal. I'm unhappy and I want out. I want a divorce.
It's interesting because we're going to talk about something else that is tied to that. But
okay.
No, I'm just thinking. To me, it's interesting because as many times as we've talked about this, rehashed it, I've never asked that question.
I know. I was going to say I don't think we ever talked about what my feelings were that day going to the dinner. To be honest with you, I don't really think I wanted to go to dinner. I don't think I really, really wanted to go to dinner.
As much as Morton's cost, I'm sure I didn't really want to go to dinner either. But it was one of those things where, I don't know, it was our 4-year anniversary.
Yeah.
I wonder if we were just going through the motion.
Well,
we're supposed to go to dinner because it's our anniversary.
Okay, so I feel like because of the tension that we had between us, there was tension in the house and we were zigzagging around each other, not really able to articulate really. I don't feel like I was really able to articulate really how I was feeling, because I wanted to just go off and say whatever I want to say, use bad language, and just be very, cross the line. We in our relationship we have standards. I'll say that, and we rules of engagement. We have rules on how we talk to one another. Never disrespectful. Lovey and I, we don't. Even when we are upset, and I'm very mad at him or he's upset with me, we don't. There are lines that we just don't cross. So we don't do a lot of the yelling at each other and cussing and acting.
Right.
That's just not who we are as people. Because those were the things those are, for me, I'm like,
right.
You just can't do that.
I've never called my wife out her name.
Not out loud in front of me. I told somebody, I was like, yeah, now when you go in that office and shut the door, he probably say all kind of stuff about me.
It's like that Jordan Peele.
Oh yeah.
There was a Key and Peele skit years ago on their show. It was like, so did you tell her how you felt? Yeah, man. I was like, he's like, I can't hear you. He's like, man. And I told her straight to her face that. So no, that reminds me of that. But
okay, so I won't say that we never blew up at each other. That's just not the character that we have, So anyway, I just felt like we kind of, like I said, we zigzagged around what the real issues were, and even in trying to address them, because I do remember one specific time, it was like a Saturday, and you were sitting on the bed, and I came in the room, and we're just kind of like, it was so disconnected. I even feel it. I can feel it right now. Just, it was like the tension was really thick, and we were so disconnected that we couldn't even really talk. And you're like, so I think you were trying to tell me, like, something's going on. I'm just not being able to tell you exactly what's wrong. I did that all nothing kind of thing. And then I start getting a little bit emotional. I'm like, well, shoot, figure it out. Not so much just figure it out, but I've been saying what I'm upset about. And I felt like you were brushing it off. So we went through that, and, but at that moment leading up to dinner, I was like, I just didn't feel like we had anything to really talk about. We hadn't even started the process of, let's figure this out. I think we did, but we kind of didn't.
Not really, because I was oblivious.
Well, you're a guy. No, I'm playing.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. No. Well, like I said, I believe it was more because
you just reached a point.
Being able to convey, and when I was saying things, I felt like you were just like, you're overreacting. So I'm like, you know what? Just forget it. So we go out to dinner, love Morton's, and I was like, I just felt numb. Like, this relationship is just over,
Well, it's funny you say that. You were talking about how, A, I said I was oblivious. B, you were talking about how it just reached that point. And there were so many things, like you said, that I've told you, and you said I kind of blew it off. Like, oh, it's no big deal, or get over it, or, this will pass, or what have you. And I think that in doing that, it's like there were all these signs. So let me get back to this. So one of the guys asked, so when all this was going on, did you not see any signs? Were there any signs that you could have seen? And my quick and honest response to him, very genuine, very transparent, was there were a lot of signs. There were stop signs all over the place. But in my mind, for whatever reason, those stop signs were yields, right? So I didn't see the red stop sign. I saw the yellow yield sign, or I saw merge with caution. And I made it something that it wasn't, to a lesser degree. I felt like I was potentially just kind of downgrading the situation to make it easier to manage and brush it under the rug. And that's something that we need to ask ourselves. It was like kind of like the old game, red light, green light. Of course, if you remember the game, it's like, oh, red light, you stop. But it's called out, so you have to stop. The command is given. Green light, and then you take off again. Well, in a relationship, it seems like there are a lot of signs, and unfortunately, a lot of signs are open to interpretation. And we don't really pay attention. A stop sign should be a stop sign. What do you do at a stop sign? Let me just ask you, what do you do at a stop sign?
You stop, and then you look, wait your turn to go. You look to see, you follow the rules of the road, basically.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So you pull up to a 4-way stop sign.
Yes.
You stop.
Yes.
And then what do you do?
Go.
Well, the sad thing about that is Snooks does do that. She stops and goes. She doesn't look to see if anybody else is coming.
I wait for the rules of the road. So if someone is there or whomever, I wait my turn, and then I go.
Right. So you look to the left.
And then I look to the right.
You look to the right. You look again. And a lot of times we don't just do it once.
Exactly. Even though I know that there's no other car over there, I'll do it like
multiple times.
Yeah.
I've done it 2-3 times when I'm like, okay, I just want to double check. Because how many times have you been caught where I looked and I know I didn't see anything?
Where did that car come from?
But then right when I was about to go, you look and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? Like the mystery car showed up. Or a pedestrian, a bicyclist, or somebody came out of nowhere. But it was that extra look. Well, unfortunately, in a relationship, or at least I can speak for myself, that I wasn't doing that. The stop signs that were put up, that you were putting up, left and right, I was basically doing a California stop. I was rolling through that stop sign, or I changed it in my mind from a stop sign to a yield. I didn't look left, I didn't look right, and I definitely didn't do it again, because I didn't do it the first time. And I rolled through it with a little bit of caution, and then when I was getting through it, I accelerated to blow right past it. Or I merged with caution. It was supposed to be a stop sign. And then I just said, you know what? Let me just ease on over here where there's less traffic, or or let me pick up my speed so I can get away from it, so I can merge in and get away from the issue that was in front of us. And that happened so often for the first 4 years that what happens when you blow through a stop sign?
Well, I mean, you can call this collision. You can get a ticket. There are a number of things.
Right.
Sometimes you blow through and there's nothing.
Exactly. Sometimes you blow through and there's absolutely nothing. And that was what was happening for the first 4 years of our relationship. Blowing through the stop sign, turning it to a yield, turning it to a merge with caution. And though there were no immediate consequences, there were things building up. Murphy's Law was like just kind of building up some momentum. One of these days, something's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And that someday came at our 4-year anniversary. Mm-hmm. When you were like, that's it? Nah. And it was a head-on collision.
So let me ask you, though, talking about, you say you saw the signs and you kind of turned them into yields to manage it. Why is there a reason, why you think that you turn them into yields just to manage it? I mean, because if you have to manage it, then you know that there's something, right? Mm-hmm. So is there, were you just like, oh, she'll just get over it, or I just don't want to deal with the situation? Something like that.
All the above.
Yeah, okay.
And it was all the above, because if you remember the story, you remember our life. It's not even so funny we talk about the story, but this is our life. You play this film like, I can't believe that was us.
Yeah.
It's like a black and white slow motion film with no sound, and you're like, wow, that was our life. And what was transpiring, or what had transpired, was that I was managing it, because I was managing my relationship with my wife. I was managing my relationship with my mother. I was managing my relationship with your family. I was managing my relationship with my grandfather and my family. There were so many personalities that I was trying to smooth over. And so there was a definite stop sign from my family. And the stop sign was on my side, where I'm supposed to just stop and really survey, is this the direction that I want to be going in? Mm-hmm. Should I take a right turn, a left turn? Nope, I just kept on going straight. There was a stop sign for me to stop and pay attention to what your family was. Actually, your family was good for the most part. Everybody was pretty much, they were really not that bad. If they were saying stuff, they weren't saying it to me. I think a lot of the signals were on my family side.
Well, I mean, because you're the injured party.
No, exactly. I'm saying it wasn't anything negative. Look, this is your family that loves you. This is my family that loved me, and all they cared about was my well-being. And jury was out on you. And rightfully so. It was one of those things where, all we know is, look, he met this chick. They got married like that. He proposed to her. I don't know what kind of voodoo she got.
You're always so silly.
I'm just saying, there might have been a root or something up underneath my pillow.
A root? Oh, my God.
Hey, look, my family, your family's from Louisiana, mine's from South Carolina, so there might have been a root involved. That's root.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of reasons why there were signs of the road all over the place, but I kept blowing past them. And it didn't do service to anybody whatsoever. And I thought it was interesting when that question came up this week, and it made me really realize that, man, that there's so many opportunities for us to avoid a head-on collision or an accident. But for whatever reason, we want to roll right through that stop sign, or we want to turn it into a yield sign, or we want to do that merge with caution and then gas it as soon as we get the opportunity to get past whatever that calamity was. Oop, avoided it one more time. Oh, I'm good. Okay, keep on going. Nobody noticed. Problem is, the only person that truly matters is the one that always notices. That's you. Mm-hmm. You noticed, and even if you didn't want to address it, to a certain extent, I feel like you had a yield sign, you had a merge with caution, but then I also think that there were times where you just didn't care. You're like, you know what, you came to an off-ramp, and you were like, I'm just getting off right here.
Well, I think I did a high-speed chase before that. I ain't stopping. I'm just, But, yeah, I think that, I know that there were stop signs for me also. There were signs. I think I talked about this before. When I was feeling the way that I was feeling, and I was praying at the same time. Okay, Lord, let's get this together. Kind of, in a nutshell. But I would always say, "Your will be done. Your will be done." But in my mind, in my fleshly mind, His will was not for me to stay. That was not, because it was, like I said, my fleshly mind. I'm steadily praying, prayer without ceasing. And I was doing that. And I would always, okay, Lord, whatever your will is, your will be done. But at the same time, I'm trying to inflict my own, because I know that I can be very stubborn. And once I get set, my heels are dug in, it's over. It's a wrap. Like you said, I'm not going to flow with this traffic. I'm just going to get off, And that's kind of where my mind was. I'm out. But there were signs, and the Lord was telling me, okay, girl, don't do this, and I'm having conversations like, no, I'm gonna do it. You said you was gonna take care of me, But I mean, I'm being, in all honesty, when I say this, I'm being very serious. I knew, because when I said, like I said, I kept saying, your will be done, your will be done. I was just saying that to the Lord. Okay, Lord, whatever it is, your will be done. And He had already told me this is not the way. But I was like, well, it's my way. And that's what I was thinking. And so He was like, all right, since you want to be hard-headed,
here we go.
Let the movie start, here we go. And that was my favorite job. I loved where I worked. We had so much fun there. I made great money there. And, we were doing good things at the company. And He was like, all right, so since you're so secure and you're so sure that you don't need whatever because you make this money and you're just, all right, cool. It's my will be done, right? You're about to lose your job. And I lost my job and I was devastated. And then I was still like, well, I can make it work on unemployment, And He was like, really? I mean, I really feel like He was like, really? You didn't listen to anything I said. Here we go again, So when we talked and I told you, and you're like, okay, I'll stay until you get up on your feet or you find a job. I had never looked for a job so hard in my life, because my main purpose was to be self-sufficient for myself and Ashanti. And that's who I was going to have. Ashanti, you were going to have Kaylin, and then however we'd make it work. And so I was looking, and I was pounding that pavement. I mean, I've never, and I go back on like, dang, I wish I wasted all those days. I could have been laying up on the couch doing nothing, but I found a job. And by that time that I found the job, because I'd actually found the job within a month, but within that time that I found the job, I was, I want to say we had already started to, kind of work on, or trying to find our way back to each other, in a sense. So it was like, I just was like prostrate on the ground, like, okay, Lord, prostrate. I said prostrate, sorry, on the ground. And I was like, okay, I said your will, so I'm turning it over. And that's exactly what I did.
It's funny. So at that moment, it was one of those things where we talk about the rules of the road, different signs, what have you, that at some point we were just like, you know what, based on everything that we've been through, and it didn't happen overnight, but we just said, how about this? How about we just drive the wrong way on the freeway? The course that we set for ourselves was going in one direction, but we just did an about face. We just turned around and started driving in the direction of all the traffic, which was, the traffic was our habits, our mindset, so many different things. Outside influences.
In-laws.
If you guys hear screaming in the background, that would be Isaiah, the blessing of our lives, demanding his way.
Yeah, he's going to get a whooping.
No, he's not. No, he's not. But we asked him, like, make sure you keep him quiet. We need some better soundproofing in here. But it was something that I thought was really important for us to actually discuss, because if you're out there and you're having difficulties, you're having challenges, and you feel like divorce is knocking at your door, you have to understand that those things are going to happen. Again, we always come back to barring abuse in any way, shape, or form. But one of the memes I released, it was either yesterday or today, that said that loving you is easy. And then when I wrote the little subscript underneath it, it was more about loving you is easy, but living with you is the hard part.
No, well, I mean,
it's because the love part does come easy, but then, because your heart knows what it wants. The heart wants what it wants. You see that in movies, you hear it in song. The heart wants what it wants. And it knows it wants you. It knows that it wants your partner. It knows that it wants your spouse, your loved one, your soulmate. But then you got to deal with the little stuff of living together.
well, it's funny. You say the heart wants what it wants, and it does. I think the issue is when the heart and the mind conflict. So the mind is like, oh, that is inappropriate. You need to do blah, 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 whatever. But the heart is like, oh, it's okay, But so then there's the dueling of the heart and the mind. And so which one is going to win out? Eventually, though, you're going to be, when you're pulled in two different places, that's when the eruption comes. I just can't take it no more,
Yeah, you start doing Jedi mind tricks on yourself, like turning stop signs into yield signs. You start turning stop signs into merge with caution. You start sitting there making up excuses why, oh, that's no big deal, or what have you. And all you're really doing is kicking the can down the road, and one of these days you're going to blow through that stop sign, and it's going to be a major collision.
Well, so here's the thing, too. So when you saw that, so what would you have done? You saw the sign, oh, I don't want to deal with it. I think the issue is knowing how to deal with the signs. What were you afraid of in
Confrontation.
Stopping?
It's a confrontation. Knowing that, I think, in my subconscious, I knew that in order to really pay attention to the sign, meant that if I'm going to pay attention to one sign, that means that now I'm going to create a habit of paying attention to all the signs. So the stop sign that was done with my mom, the stop sign that was done with my grandparents, the stop sign that was done with my family, these different stop signs, I was going to start paying attention to them, which meant that I was going to have to deal with a lot of the things that I kept pushing down the road. And in doing that, it was going to force me to stand up, which I wasn't prepared to do at the time.
Well, I think in the moment it's easier just like, I'll deal with it later, because in life we do that. I know I do, because I'm like, oh, I could be doing, I don't feel like it, I'll just deal with it later. And those are the habits. How you do anything is how you do everything. So that could be just one of the habits that you had of, I'll just deal with it later. And so it just continued on in different areas of your life.
Well, and some of it too is that, don't forget that I got stabbed and then we got married. Mm-hmm. And I think that there was, in a weird sort of way, there was some form of guilt of putting my family through that. And I didn't want to, I was in this mode of pleasing everybody. Hey, I'm alive, I'm good, and kumbaya, let's all get along. And
so you feel guilty because you got stabbed?
Guilty because, no, that to want them to check them and put them in their place when they stood by me and they sat by my bedside and they prayed for me
and
they cried. And yeah, we went through this emotional roller coaster where, I died. I almost died. I was right on the verge of dying.
I think you kind of flatlined and then they brought you back. So. And
then they talk about how I, there was that DOA part, or the last words I heard before I woke up was possible DOA. And for them to have to revive me and do all those different things, I think there's an air of guilt that goes with how dare I push back against my family when I just put them through all this and they were there for me, and how dare I turn my back on my new wife, and put her through stuff. No, I'll just make it better. I'll just run around and make sure that everybody's taken care of because everybody took care of me when I was healing. And it's funny, I've never had that realization until right now, but it's one of those, it is what it was. It was what it was, and it caused a problem. You can't please everybody all the time, and you have to draw a line in the sand with yourself and make a decision about what's most important. It comes all the way back to Gary Keller's book, The One Thing. What is the one thing that you can do, and such that by doing it makes everything else either easier or unnecessary? And the one thing that I could have done early on in our relationship may not have been the easiest choice, but it would have been the appropriate one, and that was to draw the line in the sand and say, on one side of it is my wife and I. Anybody that wants to be here in support of me, my wife, and my family nucleus, come on over on this side of that line. But anybody that wants to stand on the other side will love you from afar. Not saying I'm not going to like you, not going to love you, whatever, but because eventually I did have to draw that line. And things progressed. And it wasn't until I drew that line, there was damage, there were some battles, there was a lot of things that took place. But ultimately, when it was all said and done, everything got better. Because we drew that line and we stuck to our guns and we were seen as a family unit. It wasn't, oh, Ernie did this and Rana did that. It wasn't about Snooks and Lovey. It was, then they saw us as a family, not as individuals that could be manipulated or, railed against in some way, shape, or form.
Well, and I think that's a good point too that you bring up regarding to how people they saw us, because like you said, you were stabbed, and then we had to go through the process of physically healing and emotionally healing also. So you got out of the hospital, had to have a second surgery, and then you had to heal there, and then we're on to the wedding. We were running. So we never dealt with. We thought that we dealt with. I feel like we thought that, looking back, we thought that we dealt with the emotional impact of what really just transpired. You just got stabbed. You almost died, and then you had to have another open heart surgery. And so when people hear it, they're like, "Oh my gosh, how the heck did you guys?" And it's like we just kind of kept going. We were running. We never stopped. We blew through all stop signs. We blew through everything because it was almost like it was almost like if we stopped and we slowed down, maybe we wouldn't have never went through with it. Maybe we would have been like, "Oh, okay, wait, do I want to really marry this girl who I don't really?" I mean, it really was only 4 months. Even though I know I love her and I know I feel this way, do I really want to get in, And I would, I don't know. Do I really want to marry this guy, or am I doing it? I can't back out now because he just almost died for me. So but I would. Oh, I don't know. His family's kind of. So it's like we had tunnel vision to. We just got to get to the wedding. We just got to get to the wedding date. And I think I remember saying something like that too. Well, it won't matter after January 4th anyway, because we'll be married. So nobody can tell us anything. We'll just be us. We're going to do our own thing. And so it was us, but it wasn't just us. And so all the stuff all the baggage or the stuff that we blew past when we were focusing in on this wedding date. So we hit that destination. We're here. Oh, shoot. That's when we talk about all the collateral damage. What the heck was all that stuff back there? So now we have to deal with everything that we did not deal with initially. So I didn't deal with my feelings about how I felt that your family treated me. I didn't deal with my feelings about what he did to you. I didn't deal with my feelings about my own guilt. As like we talked about, I felt so like this is my fault because, not that I did anything that to lead him on, or, I did everything within my power,
Right, to handle the business and get it over with. But
right.
It's funny though. So, look, I'm not going to belabor the point, but it's one of those things where take inventory of the stop signs that are in your life. Don't blow past them. Really take a moment. Pull up to the stop sign. Stop. Look to your left, look to your right, look to your left again, look to your right again, pause for a second, then proceed. But make sure you're taking inventory of all the things around you, and you have to make a decision. Am I supposed to continue moving forward, or am I supposed to take a right, or am I supposed to take a left? This yield sign that's coming up, is it truly a yield sign? Pay attention to the rules of the road. The funny thing about a yield sign is you got to yield to oncoming traffic.
I was about to say, you got to pay attention to who is on the road with you also. Who's in front of you, on the side of you, and who is behind you. Because at a stop sign, if you blow past it, I mean, there are so many things that can happen. Like we talked about, you can get hurt, or you can hurt someone else. You can get a ticket. You can cause an accident. You may very well die, or I mean, any number of things can happen.
And yield signs become stop signs real quick. If the traffic is heavy and it's flowing, you will come to a stop.
Yep.
If you're paying attention to the road. Challenge is with some of us in our relationships, what we do is we yield. We're just going to keep going no matter what. And we don't necessarily yield. And sometimes you want to honk your horn at the big semi truck that you swear is trying to run you off the road, but realistically, you didn't yield.
Because you thought you had the right of way.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
And look at your relationship and try and figure out, do you have the right of way? Are you supposed to stop? Do you know when it's time to merge? And every good pilot will have a strong conversation with their co-pilot. Because trust me, I guarantee you, if your relationship is anything like ours, when I'm driving, my co-pilot's talking to me the whole time. Do you see that car? Do you see this? Do you see that? And she's over there stepping on stomping the ground, thinking she got a break over there.
No, I'm trying to step on the gas because Lovey drives like he's 85 and he can't see, so.
Anyway, so that's just something we want you guys to really think about. You know, what roads or what signs are on the road of your relationship? Really take a look at that. Discuss it. Have that conversation this week. You know, talk to your spouse about this podcast and then say, you know what? Have I been blowing through stop signs? Is there something that I need to pay attention to that for whatever reason I put up a mental block on? Am I yielding properly? Am I taking the time to really see where you're going? And am I yielding and giving you the right of way when you have the right idea or you have the expertise in a certain thing? And when I do merge, am I going fast enough or am I going too slow? You know, have that conversation with your spouse. And, you know, I think it'll be a good one. And I think you'll be surprised at what comes out of that conversation. We've been talking a lot. We kind of started straight from the beginning and jumped in. What I didn't get an opportunity to do was ask everybody to ensure that you go to Apple Podcast and give us that like, give us that rating. Increase the visibility of the podcast so we can expand the conversation with more and more individuals. We truly enjoy you, and we're asking that you tell 3 to 5 people about this podcast. 3 to 5. Let them know. Invite them. Tell them they can go to Apple Podcasts. They can go to Spotify. They can go to iHeartRadio. Wherever you're listening to it right now, they can go there. So please reach out to everybody. And as always, for the remainder of the year, we are going to add on 8 minutes and 46 seconds of silence after we sign off before the actual outro music comes in. So we do invite everyone to adhere to that moment of silence. If you're driving, take that time to reflect as you're driving, you know, and about the things that you can do to make an impact in your community as well. So with that said, we're going to do 2 for the road with our I Can for couples. Man, we're going to have to recycle these. It's yours. So I'm going to read mine. And again, the I Can for couples is available on the Married into Crazy website. And what it is, it's a can with 40 different affirmations in there, little things that you can do for your relationship. Were you going to say something?
No, I was going to read mine.
Go.
I can give a compliment. You look awesome.
She threw it back in the can like she was done.
Shoot. I forgot.
See, but here's the deal. Here's what mine says. For the fellas, I can be more patient with my partner. See how patient I was? She done broke all the rules. She threw it right back in the can so that we could get mixed in. But I was patient with her.
I took it out.
I was very patient. Hey, we enjoy each and every one of you. We're thankful that you've taken the time to listen to us. Take us on your commute, your jog, your walk, your hike, cleaning the house, your gardening, whatever it is you're doing and you're listening to us and participating in the conversation, we thank you.
Also, just before you sign off, we have an event coming up this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
The workshop.
So we have the Married into Crazy Communication Workshop. You can go to our website, marriedintocrazy.com, go to the coaching tab, that page, scroll, and you'll see the flyer there. When you click on that flyer, you can go ahead and register. And what that'll do is give you free access to our DISC assessment, which is a major DISC assessment. You're talking about a 22-page personalized DISC assessment for personality. And then we'll use that in the workshop that we're going to be doing this weekend. We're going to be talking about what it means to be in a crazy relationship. We're going to break down the acronym, go into it from a biblical perspective, and then kind of give an introduction, if you will, to how we coach with DISC. But we're going to help you build a better communication skill set, or at least give you the framework for understanding on how to understand yourself better, as well as your spouse or significant other. So go and did we mention how much it costs? Did you give the price?
I think it's $3.99.
$3.99. Somebody's like, oh, I don't got the 99. No, free. It's free across the board, right? So we do this as a service because we believe in each and every one of you. We believe in love. We are in this to help 1 million couples, and in order to do that, there's some things that we need to do that other people are doing for a cost, because the cost equivalent of this is about $125 for each individual in our workshop. But we're doing it right now for the remainder of this year for free. Did I say remainder of this year? Dang. I guess we're doing it for the remainder of this year for free. And
I'll just take the profits out of your cut.
So no, but we really want to. So you know what?
Yeah.
Let somebody know. Last time it was a lot of fun. We had people from all over the U.S. Like I said, Tennessee, Texas, California. It was great. So please participate. We want you to, and invite a friend. Go to marriedandacrazy.com/coach, scroll, register. So right now, join us in a moment of silence for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Oh, until the next time, be blessed.
Bye-bye.